You're listening to Muzilogmuzik Radio, home of indie artists.
Keep it locked.
As we continue to make it a great day, whatever time it is when you're end of the planet, I'm Samuel Archer, your host. It's the Anytime, Any Day radio show. Shout out to the International Village. Shout out to the Anytimers. What's up, Anytimers? If you're not an Anytimer, maybe you are a straight shooter. Shoot straight, because if you shoot bend, you might have a problem. Can you shoot bend out here? Is that a thing? Straight shooters. Yeah. We'll see how that works. Anytimers. And those of you who spend a lot of time in the world of cyber, the cyber world. You're on the computer and you're on the internet and, you're on the web. You might be a cyber life junkie. Yeah, it's still open for debate. But little by little, we're going with that anytimer conversation. Anytimers. That's what's up. That's what's up. And we're spreading love.
The Brooklyn way.
Shout out to my Brooklyn crew. Brooklyn, New York, baby. What's up? No, I'm not in Brooklyn. I haven't been in Brooklyn in a long time. I don't know if Brooklyn misses me, I don't know if I'll recognize the place. I'll probably do a drive-through in a little bit. And while we're at it, I'm still looking out for that coffee company that wants to be down, wants to advertise a rock with us over here at the Anytime, Any Day radio show. Yeah, some good coffee up in the spot. I almost said something else. And we talk about the things I like to talk about on the Anytime, Any Day radio show. In the last episode, I spoke about a few things. And one of those things was that we crossed 1,000 subscribers. And we've been growing a little bit. The platform has been growing, YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, head over there and do your due diligence and subscribe. Yes. Yes. So, as we proceed to give you what you think you need on the Anytime, Any Day radio show, I need to talk about the platform a little bit more so that folks don't get confused. It's easy to get confused when you don't have a full clue of what's happening. All you know is that the sound of the radio house is soothing. That's all you know. And I get it, You don't need to know what plug it's going into on the wall or if there's a table somewhere. Is there a laptop somewhere? You just want to enjoy the soothing sounds of my voice. Well, let me give you guys a little description of how this works. So the Muzilog magazine, or should I say muzilog.com, is an online publication, and we cover stories such as interviews. We talk to a lot of artists, some up and coming, some established, but primarily independent artists. Primarily, once in a while we might have a big gun that comes through. Someone that had a major deal maybe years ago, and now they're independent. So we have that sometimes. But primarily we interview up and coming indie artists. We would post maybe a press release, someone has a record coming out. Talking about that, we just did a post on Adina Howard. And if you don't know who Adina Howard is, yeah, the freak in the morning, freak in the evening, the freak. Shout out to Adina Howard. I'll probably pull up something on her in a little bit. But yes, we post, stories that are relevant, and we're developing indie music, or the home of indie music. We're developing the community, and we invite all artists, cross genres. We're mixing it up over here. Definitely we have the soul and R&B and some hip hop, some funk and grooves. But we get, a little bit of folklore. We cover dance hall artists, reggae artists, soca artists. Once in a while we'll have a little salsa mania, a little Afro-Cuban, a little Espanol. So we have two online publications. It's muzilog.com and muzilogwoman.com. And it makes sense, ladies have a lot of layers. Ladies have a lot of layers. They have things to talk about. When they're going out, they gotta do a special thing. They beautify themselves, and I think that could be a little bit subjective. Beautifying yourself. If the ladies beautify, what do the guys do? Yeah, the love battle of the sexes. Yes, I say love battles of the sexes. Yeah, it makes sense. The ladies would normally say things like, especially when they're getting ready, they envy the guys because, guys, we keep it simple. We jump in the shower, we soap the vibes, we do our shower thing, Yeah. Depending on your budget that you're working with, maybe you shower for 10 minutes, And then if the budget is lower, the shower would probably be 6 minutes or 5 minutes, And And maybe you're one of those guys who love to luxuriate in the shower. You know, you really go in and soapify yourself, you know. And then you finish, you know, wash off all that extra suds, you know, you wash suds off, right? And obviously got to dry, you know, you can't just jump into clothing, you know, you gotta get your towel and take off the excess water, you know. And then you moisturize, according to Bernie Mac, you know, in, is it Ocean's 11? Or is it Ocean's 12? I think it's Ocean's 11, where they talk about moisturizing. I don't know. Moisturize has like a feminine touch to it. I don't know. It's maybe the word moist in there, you know. I'm a bad host. But, you know, that's a fair question. If ladies beautify themselves, what do the gentlemen do? What is it that the guys do when they're getting ready? And back to the Muzilogmuzik online publication. I mean, you know, there's so many dimensions here. There's health discussions and wellness discussions. There's inspirational posts. Talk about food. You know, ladies have a lot going on, you know. They're complicated creatures that are emotional and full of love. They have a lot of love to give. Their job on the planet it's important. And that's why the ladies listening to my voice, once in a while, you know, head over to Muzilogmuzik and read an article. You know, read something. So we have articles on both sides, you know, Muzilog and Muzilogmuzik. And then we also have the podcasts if you want to know about the interviews that we conduct. That's also another dynamic. These podcasts, by the way, they're on demand. Yeah, these podcasts are on demand, the episodes. And you can just head over there and pull up an episode or look through the different episodes that we have. And listen to the interviews. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. So the podcast component of the platform, it's called Muzilogmuzik Podcast. And that's where most of the interviews you'd probably hear me say hello 3 times. I normally do that. And then I say, you're listening to the Muzilogmuzik Podcast. Samuel Archer, your host. And we speak about the guests. We introduce the guests to the audience, and we welcome them to the show. Now, the Muzilogmuzik Podcast, by the way, is not supposed to be confused with the Anytime, Anyday radio show. Because that's where topics here are things I like to talk about. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. But in terms of the podcast component and the links of it, everything I speak about, you can find the links in the description. The links are not in the bio, for crying out loud. They're in the description. But the most recent interviews we've loaded up would be interviews with an artist called Miss Monet. And we interviewed Jisoo Zhang and Baroque in Blue from Korea. Shout out to our folks over in Korea. The international village is growing. You know, we have listeners everywhere, apparently, you know. Then we have an interview there with dance recording artists or house music. We either say dance music or house music with Clifton King. And we also have some reggae, lovers rock that we talked to the artist Sunshade. He just dropped a new record EP called Move with Motion. Yes. Shout out to Sunshade. Then we have Teresa Griffin. We have Lamont Sanders. Let's see who else we have here. Shandaria. We got a lot. We got a lot of people here. Star Red. The young lady that said she's going to get her lick back. And in the interview, I asked her to define, you know, what lick back means. You know, so shout out to Star Red. By the way, Star, I saw that music video, the lick back. Interesting dialogue in the beginning there. It has to do with let's call him Jimmy Hats for now. You know, I want to put a little euphemism in the conversation. You know, let's go with Jimmy Hats. You got to be a hip hop head to get that one. We also have interviews with Keith Robertson, drummer extraordinaire, but also a great singer. And his latest single, Get Your Groove On, you know, you can check that out. We have Alvin Garrett, another Grammy-nominated singer, and Terry Green. In fact, those of you who tune into Muzilogmuzik Radio, which is our other component, you'd hear a lot of the Terry Green project there. We do put a good bit of dance music in the rotation, you know, so if you love that and you want to put some of that in the office, you know, by all means. You know. So, and we've either surpassed 50 episodes or we're close to it. You know, I'm thinking I'm probably going to make it a thing. I'll probably make it a thing where if we're close to 50, maybe we can do a celebration on the 50th episode in the Muzilog magazine podcast. Well, I grew up in the TNT culture, you know, Trinidad and Tobago. We, not all the times, but most times we look for a reason to open some champagne and celebrate. Yes, it's celebrative kind of a vibe, We want to do it like Kool and the Gang, celebration. That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up. You're listening to the Anytime, Anyday radio show. Shout out to the International Village and the Anytimers. Since it's the Anytime, Anyday radio show. And I'll do my best to sound soothing as the radio show goes. This is a lot of fun. I'm, kind of getting the vibe here. I'm feeling like the guy in the Mission Impossible. He's part of the team, and he's starting to enjoy the putting on a disguise and putting on the different facades. That's what's up. That's what's up. So, in the Muzilog magazine and Muzilog Woman, we have stories there as well. So, get over there and check out some of those stories. I believe you'd be all right. You'd be all right. Enjoy some of the reading material. The team has spent time putting together the articles and making sure it's great photos, and we put, really good information in there. So, so check that out. Let us be a part of your day, just like your coffee. That's right. So I spoke about the muzilogmuzik radio. And if you're an artist, up-and-coming artist, you can send your music in, get you in rotation, if it sounds right. Now, it doesn't have to be a song that I like. It's not about songs I like, but make sure it sounds right. Make sure it sonically good. MP3 preferred, and this is my 5th sip so far. Yeah, so what we've been doing so far at the muzilogmuzik radio is, I'm going to start with Saturdays. On Saturdays, it's 24 hours of gospel music, CCM. And if you don't know what CCM stands for, it's Christian Contemporary Music. So, you have some contemporary gospel, or they call it Christian, that, have more of a pop orchestrational type of a direction, People like Steve Green and Sandy Patty and who else? Bobby Mason. I'm calling some old names here. I'm trying to remember the new people. There's some new people. I'll remember them soon. It's a long time I've really tapped into the CCM circuit. Although although the music is in rotation, the blessing, songs like that, yeah. So we mix it up, we have gospel CCM, 24 hours of that. And then on Sunday, it's 24 hours of soca and calypso music. On a Sunday, yes, if you do house chores on a Sunday, I don't know, or you come back from church and you just wanted to spice it up a little bit with some, I don't know what you're going to spice it up with, but, you want to spice it up. Yeah, that happens on Sunday. And then Monday, we call it Reggae Monday. And we play a lot of reggae and dancehall and lovers rock. And again, if you're an artist with music, please be sure it sounds right, it's sonically good, and 9 times out of 10, we'll put you in rotation. We are the home of indie artists on the Muzilogmuzik Radio. And then from Tuesdays to Fridays, Tuesdays we feature a lot of the new music that comes in. But amongst that, with the new music in rotation, and probably what we would have been, the other curated music that we have set up in the programming, we also have Chat with Bree. That's a show with Sabrina Carnes. Shout out to her out in the West. Her show comes on at 11 o'clock a.m. during the day, and it's a pretty good show if you want to hang out with us at Muzilogmuzik Radio, 11 a.m. EST. It's Chat with Bree. At 1 p.m., we have the Soul Platform with Missy E. Party Doll. At 3 p.m., we have the Indie Hookup. And at 5 p.m., we have Women Who Jam with host Johnny Walker. How you doing, Johnny? Shout out to Johnny Walker and the crew. She has created a major niche, or a lane, I would say, for women who jam. When I hear the word women who jam, I either think of a woman on a bass guitar, like slapping and plucking, or I think of a woman on a drum set, just killing it. Yeah. I don't know when women who jam, I don't know if I would feel the same way with a woman on the keyboard. Maybe on a sax, because there are a couple of ladies out there that play the saxophone. Shout out to all the ladies that do their thing on the musical end. It's a beautiful thing. Shout out to you. Yes. And we also have DJ Willie Dynamite. And he has a couple of shows that we spin, various times. And like I mentioned before, we also spin a lot of music from the Terry Green Project, which is more like a house music vibe. So yeah, check that out. I really enjoy what we're doing, and let us know how we're doing. By the way, shoot us a few lines and let us know, what do you think, like what we have prepared. And with all that being said, please do not confuse what's happening at Muzilog with Anytime, Anyday. Well, this is the talk show. There's, anytime, any day, radio show is really the talk show. Think of it like, and although it's early in the morning, we have this thing, we're doing it from 4 to 6 in the morning. Think of it in the same way you would think of a late night talk show. We're just the early morning talk show, early in the morning, and you have a soothing voice, and, nice little groove in the background. You're probably getting ready to hit the road around 6:30, those of you who have to drive to work, So we think about you, We think about you, and hopefully, you're achieving your goals in life. That's right. Achieving your goals. One of the things I want to also share is that on this show, I'm in the spirit of trying to plug a little bit, There's a lot of crazy things going on in 2025 in the USA. Shout out to the Clark sisters. The Clark sisters, one of their records, they have a song called Pray for the USA. I think those of you with a subscription to a DSP, see if you could find that Clark sisters record, Pray for the USA. Yeah, guys, we got to pray for the USA. I think we're going to be talking about this experience we have going on presently for a while. So, not that we're ignoring what's going on out there, but in the spirit of replenishing the soul, the Anytime, Anyday radio show, that's the lane that we rock in. But we're not ignoring anything. But you gotta rest sometimes, unplug and gather yourself so you can continue to deal with the ongoing challenges in life. The universe, life in itself, has its own irony, Be rest assured, guys, that as the world turns, the tables do. As the world turns, the tables do. And the people at the head of the table right now, they're there doing their thing. And really, if you wanted to understand a little bit of what petty is, and confusion and unrest, yes, we get a good look at it right now. But the tables do turn around. There's a movie with John Cusack and Gene Hackman. It's called Runaway Jury. And Gene Hackman plays the villain in this one. And he's a guy that goes around country and he fixes cases. He messes with the jury and pays people off, and he's just bad in this one. And I'm a Gene Hackman fan. I mean, there's a couple of films he's done that he's a good guy, And he passed recently too, so he did do some nice movies, I must say. Yeah. And the character that Gene Hackman plays, he has access to everything. He's powerful. And, if you've never seen the film, or the movie, I'm saying film, in 2025. Maybe I should say if you haven't seen the film, right? Who says film here? But if you haven't seen the film, the character Gene Hackman plays, it's multi-dimensional. He has people working like in the background of the jury that's selected. He knows where they work, if they have an illness, do they owe tickets or all types of stuff. Then he has the not hitmen, but he has that layer of guys that go out and do bad things. And then he's on the top just swindling people around. I mean, it's layered. And on top of that, he has a base, so let's say he's going to come to New Orleans, or he's going to go to Atlanta, or wherever he goes, and he has a base with computers and people working on the computers, and they have internet access, and they could go mess with stuff all over the place. They can hack into all types of stuff. And in life, sometimes with all of those things, life just finds a way. Or the universe finds a way to just say, you're not winning that battle today. Sometimes life has a way of saying, not today. So, enjoy the show. Enjoy what's going on out there. Well, not really enjoy it, obviously. I'm not saying to revel in it. What I'm saying is, pay attention, be steadfast and observe and learn, and see it unfold, guys. So at this time, I want to do a little commercial spotlight, and let me rephrase that. I'm working on taking the word little out of my vocabulary. Once in a while, I mess up, say. But I want to put a commercial spotlight on my book, The Hybrid Executive. Great for up-and-coming artists, people who want to get into management, booking agencies. I talk about the music business. I talk about the various departments of the music business. I discuss some of the laws of leadership. I even mix it in with some life experiences. Yes. Hybrid Executive. It's now available on Amazon, and there are other outlets where you can get ebooks and so on. And until I release the audiobook, you can get something like Speechify. I might need to talk to Speechify a little bit. I've been promoting their brand on here. You know, they might need to cut me a check. Yeah, get the Speechify thing going, and you know, turn the ebook into an audiobook if that's, you know, if audio is your thing. And I also have hard copies. I have to order some hard copies. But if you order one, it would probably push me to get that order through. But yes, you can get the hard copy if that's the way you rock. We also want to encourage the business community. We have a business card package, $150 for the year. We will promote your business on the website, and we do, I'll say, an average of 2 newsletters per month, like on a minimum level. We will put your business card in that newsletter also. And you don't have to be in the music business. You can be an author, you can be a designer, event planning. Maybe you're an engineer. Maybe you're a movie director, you know, or you're into real estate. You know, wherever you are, and you have a business card, or you want clientele and you want to grow with us over here, the Anytime, Anyday radio show, you can do that. And by the way, guys, I've been working on some merch. Actually, I ordered something for myself. I'm thinking I'll have those merch items in the description. I'm going to put a link in the description when we set that up, and you can check out the merch. You know, you want to get yourself a hoodie or a t-shirt. You want to get an Anytime, Anyday radio show shirt to wear proudly and help promote us, by all means. You know, so I'll send you to what we call Hybrid Executive Gear. We actually have 3 outlets online. We have Spreadshirt, we have Tea Public, and I think Spring Tea. And tea, not as in tea that you're going to drink, but T-E-E. Right? Yes. So, yeah, we want to put a little spotlight on that. In the last episode, I spoke about a riddle I created, and I'm calling it a riddle, but it's really a humorous, I don't even know what to call it. It's not really a joke, but it could be humorous, you know, or maybe a riddle, a humor me riddle, maybe. Let's call it that. And, you know, maybe you could help me out and, you know, do a suggestion as to what this would probably be. And I think those of you who listened to the show, I did do what we call a cliffhanger, because the show ended and I didn't give you guys the answer. So I'm going to discuss that today. And the riddle was, what do you do in a party that you do the opposite in a taxi? Yes, that was the question. And I gave you some clues. I gave you another part of the instruction was, whatever answer you choose, put yourself So there would be two answers, right? Because you're going to say what it is you do in the party. And then you're going to say what it is you do in a taxi. So when you come up with both things that are done, you have to put yourself in the answer. All right? And maybe you could try that out with some of your friends, you know. This is a Samuel Archer original, by the way. So I thought up that this one I thought up, you know, so you wouldn't find this on the internet if you were, if anyone was doing the jumping Google search or Bing or whatever search engine. It's a beautiful thing. So let's address that, so you guys can lay that to rest. It's simple. It's simple. So in a party, listen well. In a party, you big up yourself. And if you big up yourself in the party, what do you do in a taxi? You small up yourself. Sometimes in life, you have to big up yourself. Big up. And sometimes in life, you have to small up yourself. Ah, boy, look at that. So I hope this was a good one. You guys could respond and let me know, you know, if okay. But by the way, I'm letting you all know I'm not quitting my day job. Okay, we're not trying to do this as a career thing, but maybe if it was a career thing, you know, you can always let me know. You know, Sam, you was on the pulse on that one, you know. Or you could say, nah, just don't do the day job. I mean, don't quit your day job. Okay, so you can let me know, you know, how you feel on that front. But I wanted to address that because, you know, when I'm on the show here and I'm talking about things that I like to talk about, I mean, the conversation can go anywhere. It can go anywhere, you know. So I shared a story in the last episode about an A&R that happens to still be in the industry, and you know, I wasn't looking for him at all. And I think that story would have probably been either in 1995. Well, it would have to be 1995 because around that time I lived on Franklin Avenue. This is in Brooklyn, New York, by the way. Franklin Avenue, close to the number 4 train. So that's close to Eastern Parkway. I'm trying to remember I was between President Street and something there. It was like right in that vicinity. And I used to see this guy from Black Moon. I think he's either the CEO or one of the co-founders of Duck Down. We call him the BDIMC. Let me pull up Black Moon real quick. Let's see here. Black Moon. I'm on my phone here. Again, we're talking about things I like to talk about. Yeah, Black Moon, the rap group. Well, I don't know where's this taking me. Oh, Black Moon Cosmetics? No, that's not where we're trying to go, guys. Oh, so you guys gotta work on that. Black Moon Rap Group. Oh, that's it. Black Moon Rappers. Okay. There we go. And yeah. So it says here, Black Moon is an American underground hip hop group from Brooklyn, New York, formed in 1992 by East Coast rappers Buckshot and Buckshot and 5 Footer. Okay. And record producer DJ Evil D. So it says it has 5 Footer here. I thought Buckshot was also the 5 Footer. Okay, I'm messing it up here. I hope I don't mess up my hip hop history rep here. But their first big record was Who Got the Props? Who got the props? Who got the props? Who got the props? One of the favorite records I like from Black Moon is a record called Bucktown. No. That's Bucktown is Smith & Wesson. Yeah, I gotta go do a little research on these brothers here. But anyway, I would see Buckshot around that vicinity there. Shout out to Buckshot from Black Moon. This is 1995, guys. This is a long time ago. long time ago. And I remember one day, he was, probably just came out, got off the train, and he was kind of chilling on the side, and looked like he was getting lifted there for a second, Oh, by the way, he does a nice record with Crooklyn, the Crooklyn movie soundtrack, produced by Q-Tip. It's a record called the Crooklyn Dodgers, and it's Buckshot, Shorty, and Special Ed, and Master Ace. I think if you're a hip hop purist, I'm just gonna just sideline it. If you're a hip hop purist, that is probably one of the best records out, or one of the best hip hop records. And I like the sentiment of the record, but I like I don't know whose idea it was. Obviously, I was in the studio when they recorded that record. But, you have records where you can tell it was like a battle thing, the vibe of the song. It felt like the 2 or 3 MCs was in there battling each other. It's like the competition is there. I didn't get that from this record. From the Crooklyn Dodgers record with Master Ace and Special Ed and Buckshot, it was more of a camaraderie and 3 MCs just doing their thing, just blessing us on the mic. And so like when one person is finishing and goes into the other, the other rapper takes off and runs with it, and the wordplay was crazy, So shout out to the brothers, there, and the extraordinary talents of the Q-Tip from Tribe Called Quest, producing a timeless record. And go check that record out too. Beautiful record. So, but anyway, I gave you guys a story last time. You know, I have a lot of stories that I experienced in the industry. So this one, when I remembered it, I had to write it down because it's unbelievable that I even remember this story, the amount of things I've experienced in this industry. So this story includes a very good friend of mine, Mr. Dario Villafana. Shout out to Dario if you're listening to the show, the Anytime, Anyday radio show with host Samuel Archer, the guy with the soothing voice, spreading love the Brooklyn way. Now you guys got to tell me how that sounds, okay? Just come back to me. You know, I'm just trying all these nice little vibe things on here. You know, let me know how that sounds when you guys hear it. But anyway, shout out to I know I'm crazy. Shout out to Dario Villafana. And not because I'm on the mic and because he's a friend of mine, but I do think, and I always felt this way, that Dario is, in terms of songwriters, he is in my top 5. So shout out to Mr. Dario Villafana. And he knew an artist, and I don't want to put the artist on blast like that, but the artist's name was Sean. I'm going to just start. So he, you know, if he hears this, he'll know the story the way I remember it. And, you know, maybe one day we'll jump on the phone and reminisce on that session. But we had a session. Dario invited me to, you know, let's go by Sean. Sean is from Trinidad, by the way. Dario is from Trinidad. Sean is from Trinidad. And, but Sean sings, reggae. He sings reggae music. I don't know if he still sings. You know, that we'll have to explore that. And he went on tour and he toured with a couple of major people. And, so Sean wanted to do a song from Dario, and I was, you know, called in to play some keyboards. You know, we're in the 90s here. So, you know, we go by Sean. Sean lived, I don't know if it was Canarsie, Brooklyn, or was it off of Nostrand? I'm trying to remember. It was somewhere down that way. Was kind of, you know, a Flatbush area out there. So Dario, you're going to have to remind me. But anyway, we go to this, we're in the projects. We're in the projects. And we get to Sean's building. And we get in there, you know, I think I don't know, maybe 3rd, 4th floor. I don't remember the floor. But we end up in this little room. And thank God we had a window. It was a nice little room on the west wing type vibe, you know, had a window thing. And we started working, you know. So, you know, Dario has the paper with his pen and he sings an idea and I'm, you know, playing the keys and, you know, I think we did a sequence. We sequenced like just the basic keyboards so that, you know, Sean would have a skeleton to work with. So while we're working, some other guys stopped through. It had to be maybe 4 or 5 additional guys. Now, the size of the room wasn't that big. Okay, so it was just like, I think after a while you felt like you were kind of crouching in the room because it was just so much people. That's what I remember, Dario, if you're listening. We sort of like, the room is cramped. It's about 7 or 8 of us in this little room. And these guys decide to light up. So, and I remember looking at Dario. He looks at me like, oh my God, these guys, it's going to be that kind of a session. So I think there's a chance we might have put on an oxygen mask or something, because we're like, well, we're not getting, I remember myself, I'm like, well, I ain't getting high in this session at all. And for the record, guys, I don't smoke, okay? So I'm not, I may light something, but it's probably going to be incense, So, so anyway, the session is going on and playing the different parts. And I remember there was one guy, he was kind of short. And his eyes, they were really, really red eyes. But it wasn't like he was mad, he just had this calm over him, and he just was smiling, like he was really, really chill. It's like, when somebody's just chill, this dude was chill. Like he was, that had to be some really, really good ganja or whatever. Yeah, he was so chill. And it feels like, and I'm remembering it, I think he was kind of leaning. Oh my God. You ever heard a record called A Gangster Lean? This dude was like leaning. Not as Michael Jackson and what's that record that Michael Jackson does that lean, and like, he puts this thing on his shoes and then he sort of leans forward. It wasn't that bad. It was just like a slight lean. He's just there. And I think at one point I was just checking to make sure that I wasn't leaning. So guys, something strange happens. This is, I've never figured this out, but something strange happens, guys. So we put down, the intro, the verse, what the chorus would be. So, we're like, okay, let's test it, let's do a test run. And so Sean starts to sing. What we never understood, and I have to ask Dario again, we never understood something. From the introduction of the song and the first verse, it was like almost 7 minutes. Right? Now remember in that time, if we're producing a record for commercial radio, I think the average time for a song was 3.5 minutes. The verse alone was taking us to 7-8 minutes. And we never understood why. And then he sings the chorus. By the time he sings the chorus, it's like 12 minutes. And we're like, what's going on? So the first time it happens, I look at Darren like, you sure like we have a 15-minute song here? And he's like, yeah. I was like, no, there's something wrong with that, man. So we try it again. You see here, Sean, sing it again. So, we hit the thing and we're going through the song. And Dario is looking at his watch. He's like, so by the time he's finished the first verse, Dario says, yo, it's like 8 minutes. So we're looking at each other like, 8 minutes? So we try it again. And we say, okay, well, And so while this is going on, I mean, the weed is the groove. Like it's, I mean, this is the saga of when time slows down. I think time really slowed down that day because we never figured out why that song, we didn't even get to the second verse. It was so crazy. It was like, why is this song taking, and we thought it was simple, but it's what, 8 lines? 4 lines in a verse, Maybe it's 16 bars, but we just couldn't understand why a verse and a chorus took us close to between 12 and 15 minutes. I'm serious, guys, between 12 and 15 minutes. We never understood. I think the ganja had something to do with it because time slowed down. And, but one thing, guys, this is the kicker. This what I'm going to say right now is the kicker. At no time in the session did Dario and I think about speeding up the tempo. So we left the studio confused. Because we were there so long, we left the studio confused. We were so confused. And so we were like just laughing. We talking to each other and kind of laughing. Like, hey, so you think you got high? And we'd laugh. I said, well, you think you got high? And I don't think I don't even think we had ever got the opportunity to go back and work on the song. But I have a feeling that if we sped up the song, we would have been all right. Maybe we had found such a slow groove with the weed and everything. It's like you really slow it down. Maybe we were at, instead of it being 85 beats per minute or maybe 75 beats per minute. But that's sort of like the ballad, that's the ballad territory, because the song was kind of, it was like a ballad. We probably were in the 35 beats a minute world, or should I say tempo range. And that's probably why the song took so long. But it actually felt right. We never really felt like, hey, we probably let's speed it up and see. That never crossed our minds in the session, guys. So I thought, hopefully you like that story. I have some more stories that involve secondhand weed smoke. And if you're wondering, you're listening to the Anytime, Anyday radio show. I'm your host, Samuel Archer. And as we proceed to give you what you think you need, we will be spreading love the Brooklyn way. Shout out to the International Village. Shout out to the Anytimers. And for those of you who want to shoot straight in life, well, yeah, we'll go with that. Want to shoot straight, but be careful with the shoot word. Okay, it could turn out good, or it could turn out the other way. You could, so we want to be careful with how you approach that. So yeah. And wanna jump on something else here. You know, I being that I committed to doing this this radio show, I have to figure out how many times a week I got to do this. So you guys would have to play an active role here and say to me, hey, you know, let's do it every day. No, that's pretty ambitious there. You know, every day is, you know, crazy schedule here. You know, maybe once or twice a week. You know, let's see if we can live with that. I am being told that the show might be too long. I don't know if 1 hour is enough. You know, it just feels like, you know, it just feels like it should be a 2-hour show. But I do listen to the suggestions. You know, I want the show to feel like when the show is on, it's like you're chilling with me, like you came to spend time and chill and relax and, you know, light a candle and, you know, have a bottle of something, you know, whatever that might be, Martinelli or some cherry nectar. You know, and the type of cherry nectar I'm talking about is a cherry nectar from Tobago. That's right. Shout out to the Andrews family, you know. Now, I don't know if they still own the cherry nectar, but we would, you know, growing up in a religious home where, you know, alcohol was not a good thing. Now I do deal with alcohol, but not as, you know, I'm not a drinker like that. But I'll taste something, you know, I'll take a little thing for the worms. But growing up, cherry nectar was our version of an elite beverage. Yes. It was, I'll call it an elite beverage. Yes. You know, we would break that stuff up. Oh, well, not break it up, like, but what I mean, you know, break the seal. That's what I mean. Break the seal at weddings and banquets, special occasions. You take out some cherry nectar from Tobago. You know, sometimes I wish I could go back to those days. The cherry nectar days. I'm going to get me a bottle of cherry nectar. You know, someone has a bottle somewhere. Yeah. I'm going to work on that. Who remembers cherry nectar? You know, anyone? Any takers on the cherry nectar vibe? Yeah. Yeah, so you get some cherry nectar. So, but you're gonna get something. Maybe you can get some soca wine. You know, well, there's a company out there called Soca Wine. And if we weren't that bad to Michael B. Jordan, you know, we could have gotten some Juve. You know, get a bottle of Juve. Now, Mr. B. Jordan, if you hear this, I think you should revisit the Juve rum scenario. Okay, so not everybody was against you doing the Juve rum. Okay, it's not Juvert. I've heard some people talking about the story, and they said Juvert. It's French. Okay, it's Juve. All right, guys. And so Michael B. Jordan, this is just for you. I would like to get a bottle of the Juve rum. I know you didn't destroy it. You probably have it in storage somewhere. We need to get a bottle of the Juve rum. Okay, so those of you who know Mr. Jordan, because I don't know him personally, I do see him in movies. I see him in movies. That's it. I don't know where the hell he lives. Is he in New York? He's in LA. I don't know. But I want to get a bottle of the Juve rum. Okay, so work on that for me. And but anyway, when you think about the Anytime, Anyday radio show, I want it to be a moment of luxuriating. You want to replenish. In many aspects, you want it to be orgasmic. Just it's an acquired taste. It's just one of those shows. It's just a few cuts above the rest. You don't just say the Anytime, Anyday radio show with Samuel Archer. You have to breathe first. So like when you talk to your friends on the job and you say, and they may ask you, so, what were you doing last night? And then you said, well, last night I was, and then you pause. You got to pause. So people that start looking at you like, okay, why you pause? Yeah, so you want that's the effect you want. So you would say, last night, I was, last night, and then you pause. I was listening to. Yeah, you got to change your voice too. You got to get the put the tonality, the texture in your voice and say, last night I listened to the Anytime, Anyday radio show. And your friends would look at you like, okay, this person lost their mind. And then there's like, and then when they come back, anytime, then you had to like, shh, you got to shut that, you got to kind of do the shh, shoot them down a little bit. Like, no. And you got to pause and say, and in soft voice, you tell them, say, Anytime, Anyday radio show. Oh my God, it's beautiful. And, so when you say it like that, I think it will speak volumes, because now these people would want to know why this show has that effect on you. Try that out and let me know how it works. We're out to try almost anything. Not anything now, almost anything. Yeah. So in the last show, I spoke about flowers and smiles, hugs, and hickeys. This looks like it should be a poem. Flowers, smiles, hugs, and hickeys. You know what we're gonna do? Why don't we make this let's make this a thing. To my listeners, those of you who think you're good with the pen, you got a good pen game. Write a poem and title the poem Flowers, Smiles, Hugs, and Hickeys. Oh my God. That just sounded so good right there. That should be a song. Yeah. So yeah, that's. I just thought about that, guys. But in the last episode, I touched on some topics, and it looked like it resonated with the ladies. The ladies responded. They like that kind of thing. They like conversations. Again, let me put a disclaimer out there. I'm not licensed. I'm not a licensed counselor or relationship advisor type thing, or I'm just speaking my observation. And in no way, shape, and form we would talk about this in the same spirit of what was it? Think Like a Man? What was that book Steve Harvey did there? I don't know. Think like a man. Talk like a woman. Think like a man. yeah. That we're not going there with that stuff. That's the Steve Harvey stuff. And, good luck for him. I mean, he did his thing, made some money. I'm sure the brand is beautiful. I'm not trying to venture into that at all, so, yeah. And those of you who didn't, hear my discussion on that, you can, go back to that show and check it out. So in Orlando, the last couple of days, we've been having, nice rain and thunder stuff, and it's been really, it's been rainy. I think the reservoir is replenishing, so we can have showers and things like that. So if you're stuck with your person or your love interest or your spouse, and rain is falling outside, what do you do together? What's that thing you guys would do? So I was looking to see, what could a couple do, that would incite intimacy a little bit, kind of get the vibe going, light a candle, flicker some light in the area, I remember growing up and a lot of the guys would say things like they like to take their girlfriends to horror films because there'll be scary areas of the movie, like little scary scenes, and they can hold on to the guys, and apparently the guys reveled in that moment, like, oh my God, she needs me, she's and they used to be so excited. They'll come to school like the next day, like, yo, she smells so good. Yes, ladies, the guys, the guys would be, ladies, you would be so memorable. The guys would come to school next day and talk about how good you smelled. Hallelujah. Shout out to you all. So I went online and did a little research. I got to get intelligence and bring it to you guys, So what do you do when you're hanging out and the rain is falling outside? One suggestion, it says here, is to put together a puzzle. It says here you could solve one puzzle together, or make it a competition and put together two puzzles. See who can solve it first, and perhaps the winner gets to choose the movie for the night. Corny. I think it should turn into like strip poker. I think anything you do, it needs to lead to some strong, intense intimacy. Yeah. I think it should go there. It started good though. It started good. But it's a puzzle, like what kind of puzzle are we talking about? Are we talking about like a medium size type, where or are we talking about where the puzzles are like really cut in big pieces? So you got to like figure out, well, what kind of puzzle size is here? Because you got puzzles that takes people a couple of days. They're just putting this thing together and they're trying to find the pieces. Like it's crazy out here. It's just raining outside. But let me say it more in my soothing voice. You could solve one puzzle together, or make it a fun competition and put together 2 puzzles. See who can solve it first. And perhaps the winner gets to choose where you can have sex. Are we going to use the kitchen? Are we going to go in the jacuzzi? Who has jacuzzis, right? I mean, really. It's not like you planned that the rain was going to fall. The rain just fell. And who has puzzles in their houses like that? So you'd have to actually plan that. You'd be like, okay, well, let me get puzzles just in case it rains. You got to think on that level. So if it does rain, you have puzzles. Well, let's see what else they have here. Host a 2-person board game tournament. Choose a few different board games and create a list of prizes for the winners. Our favorite 2-play games are Wingspan, 7 Wonders Duel, Azul, and Splendor. I know some of these games here. Example prizes might be Loser Cooks Dinner, Winner chooses the next movie, or winner gets to buy something for $15 online. I don't know. I think whatever it is, it should turn into strip poker. I'm turn it into strip poker. I don't know. Show us a breast or something. I don't know. I don't want to spend $15 online. Let me see a breast. Yeah. Maybe every time you win something, you take off a little piece or something. Or maybe when whoever loses, take off a piece. I don't know. Turn it into, look at this one. Okay, so this one says, Naked Trouble. I like this. So this is the regular Trouble game, it says. It looks like a regular. You know what? I'm thinking the first 2. So let's be fair, all right? I know I put some little jokes in there, like little funny things. But let's say maybe the first 2 options are good for people who aren't intimate yet. Maybe it's maybe the representatives are meeting this time, So you're not really meeting the person, you're meeting the representative, right? And you can do the first 2 suggestions, with the puzzle and the board games and, and yeah. That's good for the people who, you're trying to feel each other out a little bit, You do some fun thing like that. But this one here, number 3, it says Naked Trouble. This is the stuff I like here. Let's see here. Start by assigning each number, 1 to 6, a body part. You can each have your own list or create one to share. You see, now we're talking. And then when it's your turn to pop, get ready to pop a kiss on your spouse, the body part that corresponds to the number. Okay. Now this is a game. I want to hear from the guys. Guys, what do you think? I want to hear from the ladies. The ladies. I think the ladies might like this game. I'll definitely like a game like this. I might have all the numbers just lead to one area. Oh my God. Let's let it go to one area. Hallelujah. Number 1, okay. Number 3, bad host. Bad host. In case you're wondering, you're listening to the Anytime, Anyday radio show. I'm Samuel Archer, your host. And we talk about things that I like to talk about. Yes. By the way, we're still looking for a coffee company. You know, I'm going to try Postum one evening and see if Postum wants to be that company over here. You know, get the Postum vibe happening. Okay, so so this other game here for when it's raining outside, it says here, foreplay, shoots and ladders. This here, this looks like a good kind of game here. Now, I'm not sure. Okay, so shoots and ladders, I think, is like snakes and ladders. I knew it as snakes and ladders. But it looks like it's the same game here. But it says, I guess whoever came up with this game, it says foreplay, shoots and ladders. I like foreplay. Yeah, foreplay is good. Help to get things moist, you know. You can moisturize. Yeah, grab a permanent marker, or if you'd like your kids to be able to play, well, be able to use the game again. Okay, so yeah, I don't know if the kids will be playing with this game, so I'll probably go with a permanent marker. But if you think your kids would want to play the shoots and ladders in the future, they say use some small sticky notes, and then take turns writing different foreplay ideas on each of the squares. And it says here, we recommend writing on every 6th or 7th square. If you land on one of those squares, you follow directions. That's what I'm talking about. The rain is falling outside, and you're playing foreplay, shoots and ladders. Okay. There's one here called strip poker. Oh my God. Yeah, this is interesting. You know what might be funny is if any of my work colleagues listen to this show. They'll be like, is this Sam on the radio? Is this the Sam that I work with at the university here? No, that ain't the Sam, you know, because they see me in a different light probably. But this suggestion here is strip poker. I was talking about strip poker all the time. So strip poker shows up here. And it says that every time you lose a round, you get to turn up the music and strip off a piece of clothing in the most seductive way possible. Woo, yes. You can also grab the supercut printables from, so they're promoting something. They have some sort of a thing here. A strip poker night. See, this is what we're talking about. You know, so yeah, a strip poker vibe, you know. So those are some things you can do when rain is falling, you know. How many of you ever saw the prophecy? You know, let me not even go there. You guys might be like, okay, Sam, you're losing it. But if we want to put a commercial spotlight again on Hybrid Executive, that's my book. If you haven't checked it out yet, be sure to, you know, make a little move there and get the book in a big way, you know. And we have our business card promotion package, $150 for the year. Information is in the description. We would have links and everything there. You get there and follow suit. Now, if you just want to donate to the show or donate to the platform, we have a link for you. We have a PayPal link that you can send us your blessing. If you like what we're doing over here, we want your support and we need your support. And if you haven't subscribed to the channels yet, the YouTube channel, please go over to YouTube and the link would be in the description as well. and you can get over there and subscribe to the channel. We want to get to 2,000 subscribers. And also, I want to encourage you to look at some of the content on the channel. You know, I have a lot of interesting content there. I have some shorts from the interviews. I have the full interviews there as well, that we also put on the podcast. I have some music there. You can go to my music albums. I have a few playlists on there, and you can play something. You know, get involved. You know, do something on the YouTube channel, and you know, some activity on the channel will help the algorithm and help bring, you know, help lift the vibe the way it needs to be lifted. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. So, like I was saying, you know, the stuff with rain falling, you know, I think the first two that was suggested is for folks who aren't, you know, that's probably for, maybe that's for the plutonic people. Yeah, those that, you know, yeah, that would work for the puzzle one and the board game, you know, and who will pick the movie, and, you know, who will clean the kitchen, and yeah, that's the plutonic stuff, which is okay, you know, no pun intended, you know. You got to have some sort of an activity and fun out there in this life. You're listening to the Anytime, Anyday radio show with Samuel Archer, your host, spreading love the Brooklyn way, while I drink coffee and talk about the things that I like to talk about. Yes. Yes, yes. Shout out to the International Village. Shout out to the Anytimers. And, you know, I want you to also get your merch. We have merch. I have a lot of merch, guys. So, you know, show your love by getting something. Get something from one of the platforms that sells T-shirts, and wear the T-shirt proudly. Yes. Especially if on Fridays, if you have dress down Fridays. I know some establishments, they do dress down Fridays. Yeah, you know, when you dress down, you know, you put on the Anytime, Anyday radio show T-shirt. And then you can say to your friends, see, remember that show I was telling you guys? And you point to it on the T-shirt. This is the show, right? If you're not listening to this show, you're missing out in life. Yes, you know, so you let them know. Shout out to the International Village. Shout out to all the people that, you know, people reach out to me directly, and that's great. That's great. But I want you guys to really get involved, you know, leave some comments. You know, comments goes a long way. So be sure to leave a comment, and I would be forever thankful and grateful. So I was talking to one of my listeners, you know, and the cuffing season topic came. And I'm kind of new to the whole cuffing season thing. I mean, I'm new. I heard about it probably about maybe 2 years ago. And we had a duo, two ladies from Delaware, two good friends of mine, Amina and Shah. They started something called The Den. And if you go to Muzilogmuzik, there's a few episodes that they did over there. And I think they addressed cuffing season. And I think that was the first time I learned about it. It was like cuffing season. I didn't even know it was, I didn't even know it was that serious. It seems like it's a serious thing out here. But it's really interesting. So it says here, Cuffing season is a colloquial term describing the period from fall through winter, roughly October to March, when single people are more likely to seek out and enter into short-term romantic relationships, often to have a companion for the colder months. Okay. The term cuffing alludes to the idea of being handcuffed or locked down in a relationship, even if just for a limited time, according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. That's interesting. I am definitely from a different time, but I think the young people are doing this. This might be millennials into the Gen Z. Let me look at that list again. I think I'm Generation X. All right, I think I'm Generation X. Let's see if I can find the list. Let's see what. Okay, so Generation X, we would be between 45 to 60 years old. All right, so that's Generation X. And okay, let's look at this thing here and see. No, that's the wrong chart. Wrong chart. Okay. Let me see. Born between 1965 and 1980. The sandwich generation, often balancing the needs of their children, their own careers, and caring for aging parents. Yeah, that kind of sounds like what I was doing for a little while. But let me look for the generation chart. Generation. Let's see here. So you have okay. Yeah, I think this is what I'm looking for here. All right, so it says here, okay, so now it looks like we're living in Generation Alpha, which is 2015 to 2030, right? So we're in 2025. So this is Generation Alpha. Gen Z is 1995 to 2014. That's the Gen Z. Millennials, 1980 to 1994. And Generation X, which is my generation, is from 1965 to 1979. So I'm thinking that the people involved with cuffing season would be the millennials into Gen Z, which would be followed by Generation Alpha. You know, you gotta do the research. You gotta really see where we're going with this conversation. Yeah, so I did a little research here. You know, I got to get my intelligence going. And let me see here, the cuffing season. So there's a site called, where's that thing? I think the site is called Viking. If I could find the Viking thing here. Oh, not Viking, sorry, Vulcan. Vulkan. Vulcan. That's like Mr. Spock on Star Trek. He was from Vulcan. And they have a cuffing season. It says the official guide for cuffing season. So those of you who are, you are a research junkie, like me sometimes, you know, you want to get the stats or you want to cite the information. And it says Black's official guide for cuffing season. So I wonder, is cuffing season multicultural? Let me ask let me ask one of these people here. Maybe the AI people here. Let's just see. It's cuffing season. Multicultural. Yeah. Okay, so it doesn't show, and the reason why I'm asking is that I've only heard about it in the Black experience, the cuffing season, and it maybe it's something I can. Let me. Let me see here. Let's see. Let's see here. Ooh. So it seems like the melanated people. It says here, and this is, we might have to be fact checked here. So it says cuffing season, which refers to the period during colder months when singles look for temporary relationships to combat loneliness, and the cold is not exclusive, or it's not exclusively tied to any specific race or ethnicity. While the term cuff is thought to have originated from the African American vernacular meaning to hook up, the phenomenon itself isn't limited to a single demographic. So maybe the term cuffing season is more of a melanated thing. And the reason why I thought it made sense is because of this Vulcan thing here that says Black's official guide for cuffing season. All right. So let's see what it says here, guys. So it's like a chart. It says here, so in the month of August, it's the scouting. They call the month of August scouting. So I guess those of you who would subscribe to the cuffing season would start scouting in August. Now they show a guy by himself here in the chart, it's a illustration type thing. So is it the guy that's scouting, or are both people scouting? So I guess, but it says here August 1st, you start looking for a potential partner. And in September, they call it drafting. So the first month is scouting, and the second month is drafting. And so with the drafting, you pick your top candidates. I guess it's the guy. It's showing the guy picking his top candidates. Shout out to the ladies. And in the month of October, you have tryouts. This is interesting. So it says here for the tryouts, you go on dates with your top candidates. Okay. This is definitely a different angle to live in the life here, guys. It's interesting. Very, very interesting. And then in the month of November, you have the preseason. And in the preseason, it says here you get more serious with one or two prospects. Interesting. That's November. And between December 1st to January 15 is, it says cuffing season. And it says here, pick your best match and become exclusive for the holidays. All right. Interesting. And the birds and the bees and everybody is all in the vibe here, And between January 16th to February 12th, I mean, who put this together? It's very detailed. My God. It's called the playoffs. It says here, survive the holidays and consider long-term potential. That's interesting. Interesting. And it says here, February 13th, you have the championship game. So it says here, offer boyfriend and girlfriend status and celebrate Valentine's Day together. So, and then it stops there. So if it's supposed to be temporary, like a temporary thing, I guess at this point there's some sort of a conversation. So and I'm looking at the just the dynamic here. It's definitely not the Generation X dynamic. All right, young people. Okay, so it's a testing thing here. So it's I say so. Fall is right around the corner, and which means our favorite season. Okay, so this is a favorite season. It's saying here. Interesting. It says cuffing season can be a strange time, whether you're single or in a situationship. It can seem like everyone is looking for a new bae, and often there are unspoken rules associated with cuffing. All right, so I think when it says black here, now I'm understanding the context. So Black's official guide for cuffing season. Black's is a fictional character. So it's not black meaning black folks, but black the character. So I just wanted to make sure I clarify that so I'm not confusing my audience. Yeah. Well, leave some imagination for the conversation. Leave some imagination for the conversation. So, as I was doing my research, I saw that there's a cuffing season application. Could you guys imagine that? There's an actual application, like people take applications. So I'm looking at an application here. It says a cuffing season application, and it's divided into 3 sections, and they're showing an example here. And in this example, so it has the name of the person, it has the age and the occupation of the person. But something interestingly here, in the age, it says what the Hollywood age is and what the actual age is. So this is maybe something the millennials do, or the Gen Zs, So the actual age on this sample application is 29 for this person, but the Hollywood age is 25. Now, I didn't even know that there was a Hollywood age. So maybe the age you kind of look like, let's say, how do I look? Like how old would I be? And someone say, you look like you're 42 or you're 48 or something. So that might be the Hollywood age. So I guess whatever they're going to guess what you are, that's the Hollywood age. And then your actual age, you might probably be a little bit older here. So that's what I'm kind of seeing here. On this sample application, it has bragging rights. So it's bragging rights, strengths, red flags, skills, ideal first date, and additional skills. Oh my God, this is crazy. And these people take this thing really serious. So let's see what this sample, something in the red flags caught my eye, because I don't know what the red flag thing would be. Is the red flag for the person who is sending the application, or is it for the person receiving the application? So this red flag here is being so good at sex that it makes my partner insecure in bed and ultimately wrecks the relationship. That's a red flag? Okay. And then the second red flag is becoming friends with your mom. Oh my God. So there's a reason why I read that first, because I'm trying to understand. Okay, what red flags would you have? You know, if it's sort of like hooking up temporarily, wouldn't the red flag be something you would consider before going into the application, right? But this additional skills here, it says graphic design. So I thought that's interesting. So the strengths here, it says buying some, so I guess doing purchases, saying that they're fine when they're actually mad, and sleeping. So those are strengths. Let me see here. Skills. There's some stars next to these skills here, and I guess it tells you what you're really good at. So for this sample application, this person is really good at ordering takeout. Cooking is like half of that number. Cleaning is half of the cooking number rating here. And being patient is like 1 star. So like they're not patient at all. So, okay, that's a skill. Okay, I didn't know that would be a skill. Stealing your friends, that's kind of high. And getting a speeding ticket is almost as high as ordering takeout. Interesting. Yeah, this is beyond putting fries in the bag. Yeah, okay. I've got to get it together here. So it says here, ideal first date. And the ideal first date for this person says, you tell me that I look pretty without makeup on, and then rake up the leaves in my yard. Oh, I didn't see that one coming. I like that. This is a good euphemism term here. Rake up the leaves in my yard. Oh my God. Ladies, have you ever said that to your other person? Rake up the leaves in my yard. Wow. All right, so that's cuffing season. Yeah, it's interesting. If you are a platinum or gold card member of the cuffing season, I would like to hear from you. Jump in the comment section and give a little experience about this. Is this a I don't even know. I don't even know what to make of it. It's definitely a different type of thing here. The cuffing season kind of vibe. It's a different vibe. Yeah, different thing. Yeah, you're listening to the Anytime, Anyday radio show with host Samuel Archer, and we're talking about things that I like to talk about. Yes. Things I like to talk about. And a shout out to the Anytimers. And if you're not an Anytimer, shout out to you. But Anytimers would be, and we're closing into the name that we want to choose for the crew, the people who are the movement around the show. So it's the Anytime, Any Day radio show. You've been rocking with me for the last 2 hours, and I hope that the things I like to speak about or talk about was entertaining, was riveting, was inspiring, was elevating, moisturizing. Let me stop. All right, guys, beautiful people, make it a great day.
You're listening to Muzilogmuzik Radio, home of indie artists.
Keep it locked.